The Grand Story. Then David up from Ziklag strode, made Hebron town his royal abode. The men of Judah crowned him king, but in the north the vain quisling Prince Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, controlled by Abner, was installed and laid his claim to royal throne. 2 years he governed, all alone. Now David's nephew Joab rose to prominence, and all his foes, including Abner, came to know this ruthless warlord would not show an ounce of mercy nor of grace. By David's side he took his place. The court fell silent, stood in awe, when Joab darkened David's door. In 7 years of civil strife and violent needless loss of life, this Joab settled every score. While David's strength grew more and more, all Israel came to David's side. Of Joab they were petrified. Then Joab took the citadel of Jebus, now the capital. Now after victory it seemed right to bring the ark up to the site where royalty had made its home. There God could prop up David's throne. The golden ark began to tip, and on the rutted road it slipped, and Uzzah thought to make it stand. But God don't need no helping hand. A lot of anger on that day broke out, and David had to pay attention to the way he brought the ark up to the royal fort. At Obed-Edom's house he parked the holy presence of the ark until he figured out the way to bear the ark without delay. The Levites bore the ark's advance with sacrifice and livid dance. The king displayed humility with such abandoned dignity, while Michal watched from window frame. Her sarcasm, like acid rain, corroded their remaining bond, dissolving every feeling fond. David, as he contemplated, might God be domesticated? In his mind he fabricated a temple he elaborated. The Lord had other things in mind, and sent his prophet to remind. The Lord God knows what he has planned, but God don't need no helping hand. I took you from the shepherd's yoke, and made you keeper of my folk. Your enemies shall all fall down before your name of great renown. Not you for me a house will build, my plans for you will be fulfilled. Your throne will last eternally, your kingdom ever stand for me. And David sat in awe, amazed, poured out his heart with psalms he praised. On every side his kingdom stood, in conquest o'er the neighbourhood. And to his table brought a man, a crippled son of Jonathan, and showed him covenantal grace, restored him to his rightful place. But when these songs of gratitude were done, he changed his attitude, and from the glories of those days he slid and fell into the ways of pagan kings, who send and take just what they want, their lust to slake. So here begun a tale of woe, a tragedy with overflow. It was an afternoon in spring when David did an evil thing. Bathsheba was Uriah's bride, whom David stole with sovereign pride. She, by ruthless power beguiled, by royal seed conceived a child. Uriah, David's loyal serf, was fighting wars on foreign turf. To cover up his sinful sport, he called her husband to report. So Joab sent him back to base, for David hoped he would erase the trail of sin and guilt and shame, and take from David's hand the blame. The Hittite was a nobler man, and didn't fall for David's plan. So David signed the fateful note. Uriah was by pagans smote, and David took his widowed bride, a lion roaring in his pride. But what he stole the Lord decried, his judgment would not be denied. And Nathan wove a parable, thou art the man corruptible. Then David wept, the Lord forgave, but consequences would be grave. Now Absalom his brother slew, in civil war his hatred grew. Then Absalom by Joab slain gave rise to David's grievous pain. Where are God's promises to bless? Why is my house in such a mess? When David to his house returned, in sadness, as if all were burned, the latter years of David stank of bitterness and failure rank. For giants rose up in the west, put David to a martial test. And David numbered Israel's men, provoked the Lord to judge again.